define what GEO is.
GEO is like trying to influence the answer of a LLM. But technically, if I have to get, then I will say it is model preference alignment.
Yep.
Post the citation that you are getting cited, but you are not influencing the answer. See how the text is written. That actually changes whether that citation is actually influencing the answer or not.
You know what's funny? The shittiest tool might also be cited in number one.
Calculating number of citations and trying to just count something that this is X, this is Y. This is not research.
How's the future is going to look like? CMOs will be replaced with AI.
Hey guys, this is the GEO Community Podcast. This is our episode 1. Right now I have Leo with me.
Hey guys, my name is Leanid. I'm a co-founder of Wrodium as a knowledge freshness infrastructure for the future of the internet. We help companies to keep their content compliant, structured, and correct for LLM crawlers. And as a result, you get more citations and all of your content is actually becomes not static, but dynamic. The goal of the whole podcast is to build the bridges between any sort of groups, even if you're from SEO, from GEO, or if you're a marketer. We talk very simple language about what's happening in the roots of GEO and how you can enter this market. And I had a pleasure to know this intelligent man from GEO community, where we both live in the Bay Area, and we ended up meeting in Mountain View once. But Rohit, you finally revealed your face. So many SEO people who hate you will now know who you are.
Yes, finally they will know. I am not like a people person. I normally don't go out, don't meet a lot of people. I prefer to be invisible.
So, Rohit, let's just kick it off. And can you tell me what's GEO actually is? Because there is so much confusion around it in AI search right now.
So basically, GEO, what I realize after doing a lot of experiments is understanding the taste of LLM. And what I mean by that, it comprises 3 things. One is your training data. The second is your model preference alignment. And the third is information retrieval systems. So your ability to influence and understand these 3 things will help you crack GEO.
In a graph where your traffic grows. What I believe is your traffic goes down, but your revenue goes up. That is a true effect of GEO. And honestly, I wish someone will show me this graph of revenue going up and your traffic going down.
No, that is already happening. Reduction in clicks, nobody can stop. Okay, that is a user behavior change. 0-click phenomena is actually a true phenomena. It is happening right now in real time. So the amount of traffic or number of clicks is definitely going down. Is it going to impact your revenue or not? That's a separate thing.
Another point is a lot of buyers, and we ran a bunch of polls about it. You're discovering ChatGPT, but you go on Google and you search up. So what happens is and then you're but then you have to ask, how do you discover us? And you're oh, I discovered you through AI models.
So you started this company, and can you tell me a little bit about what you are doing?
Talking of how we do it is more that the biggest size of a problem we're solving is knowledge freshness and knowledge decay, which happens inside of LLMs. And we essentially, I have huge respect towards GEO, but we never started as a GEO company, and we never called myself a GEO company. We started as an idea of knowledge refreshment and relevancy of your content, because back in the day in Berkeley, I saw that, wow, people invest so much money, so much resources into creating content, and once they create and publish these articles, it just stays there static. And I was well, you spend so much money into creation of content and there is no ongoing maintenance to millions of articles which enterprises are publishing. And we decided to attack this problem, and that's why we created Wrodium.
Well, actually, that's definitely interesting. And even I saw that there's some of the patents of Google, which were especially talking about the freshness and the relevancy of the content and how it actually impacts your SEO and GEO both. What do you think about those? Did you got the chance to read those?
Yeah, essentially, when we were starting, we did a very deep research on everything what have happened, happening, and gonna happen in the industry, and wrote a lot of internal essays on this matter. I mean, the point which we're kind of looking at as we're building not what's needed particularly right now. We're building what's going to be a foundation and backbone of the internet in the next 2-3 years. And the point which we are kind of I'm in this podcast and how I know you is GEO and LLMs. Yeah. And I think that we scientifically proved that fresh, structured, verified content is cited more often in AI search. And I think the backbone of the quote of LLM searches, for me, the way I see it is, if your content is structured, it's easy to read, is reliable, and is useful for LLMs, they will be citing you. They will be using you.
Yeah, that's true. There are various frameworks by which you actually can measure these things. And the way I saw GEO was a little different. I saw it in a much more technical way.
How do you feel if you were to describe what is GEO, like how you would simply put it together? Because I honestly see so many LLM tracking tools which were vibe coded over the weekend on a hackathon. I see those SEO people who just discover Claude and start doing AI search SEO. I see so many people tackling it from the different direction, and I don't think that anyone truly like define what GEO is.
GEO is like trying to influence the answer of a LLM, but technically, if I have to, then I will say it is model preference alignment. Because if you don't do it, if you don't understand it, then you will hit this problem of ghost citation, which I believe John wrote about.
Yeah.
Ghost citation, that you are getting cited, but you are not influencing the answer. But once you understand that, let me take an example. If I write my age is 37, and 37 is my age, based on how it is written, it is actually influencing the answer. It is literally how the text is written that actually changes whether that citation is actually influencing the answer or not. Of course, it depends on the data on which you are actually trying to find it.
Yeah.
It's not something common for all of them.
And I don't think GEO gonna exist like it's existing right now. I think there will be a very deep separation on like GEO 4 and I mean, look at the amount of AI agents which do exist. And I think there will be particular GEO for AI agents, for like specific AI agent with a specific use case. You want to optimize not just for the whole bunch of Perplexity, Gemini, Claude. You want to also optimize for smaller AI agents.
That is definitely going to happen because, of course, we hear about the bigger players in the market. And yes, it makes sense to optimize for them because they hold the bigger market share. But it is going to be very similar to what happened with browsers. Like, for example, we know Safari, we know Edge, we know Mozilla, we know Chrome. But there are other browsers also in like somewhere around 2012, 13, when people used to optimize for Opera, Internet Explorer 6, 7, 8. And all of them required some specialized code because all of them used to work very differently. Something similar is going to happen with GEO also.
It just the story repeats itself on what's happening. From my perspective, I don't think SEO is going to go away. I think it's people who just are doing SEOs, they probably will. Like that's the reason why we're talking is like we give an edge to SEO people to understand what's going on. I don't believe that SEO is dead. Like in the way how it exists right now.
I have a very different take. Yes, SEO is not there, but the practices of SEO are going to die.
Oh, 100%.
And the reason for it, the way I feel search is equal to, if I have to define in an equation, search is personalization plus system signals plus user signals. The whole ecosystem of SEO is actually built on like some system signals, which is your page speed, first the contextual pane, and other stuff which we optimize. And then there are user signals. And by user signals, it is like, okay, let's optimize for the keywords which are being searched the most. We are trying to understand the behavior of the larger portion of audience and then try to actually capture that particular real estate. But what is happening with this zero click? Effectively, though, that real estate is shrinking. That user signal is shrinking. And that's why I believe that those companies or user signal will remain relevant, at least for like a year or two. But after that, I don't see.
Look at the amount of SEO people. Like, what are they going to do?
The way it is going to evolve, personalization, I believe nobody can influence. It is so difficult to influence personalization. Then you have system signals and user signals. User signals are dying. That means the weightage of the system signals will increase.
Yeah.
So imagine this, like search, we have optimized for search, whether it is SEO, by understanding the reward function of the Google. What are the things Google is actually like rewarding? If you do this, I will give you more surface area or more search area, or I will give you a better rank. In GEO, since user signals are dying and system signals are becoming prominent, I believe the reward function will move towards that direction. User signals still will remain relevant, but slowly they are dying, at least the keyword part.
Well, I mean, that's like when my OpenClaw is browsing a pair of shoes for me. Like, I'm sure a lot of shoe companies never even been observed by my Claude bot. But like a huge gap, which we are seeing right now, is you can have a very strong SEO, but if you're invisible to AI agents, I'm just never going to discover you.
When I searched about best running shoes, it was my query. when I gave it to an open claw, it translated into a different query. There is an original query which is getting rewritten into a different query. And that's why the weightage of an original query does not matter much. And that's why the keyword signals are becoming weaker. Okay, it's more like I saw best running shoes, but in final querying, it was best running shoes for marathon because the AI chatbot was knowing about my history that I like to run marathons. That's why it will become weaker. But yeah, I do understand the point that what you are trying to make, that this whole industry is definitely going to change in this version. What do you think about this? Like content freshness is one thing and relevance is.
And like content freshness objectively is. Rohit, when you write a bunch of blogs for GEO community, I bet the first articles from which you have written for GEO community are outdated. And things which you have written about the patents and stuff is not real anymore. The stuff have evolved. And the question is simple is, do compliance officers, do CMOs, or like just head of marketing people, do you want to associate your brand with outdated content listed on your website? It matters when the stuff was posted. You can imagine your website like a Google map, and LLM is a car which just writes on your map. Easily, it can access every deep endpoint of your website, it can read, it can parse. The question is like, let's forget about GEO right now, and let's forget about LLM traffic. Let's just say, simplistically, do you want to have outdated content on your website? And the answer is, of course not. And the point is, we treat GEO as a positive outcome of what we do rather than like directly attacking you. And the reason why I enjoy talking to you is because like kind of like both worlds are meeting up where I have a very active GEO attacker and we don't really like target GEO as like main outcome of what we do.
How you are tackling this relevancy part, like how you are improving or like measuring it?
We use a bunch of deep search agents. One of them is ranked number one is Cellcog. We constantly run the deep search on specific like private databases of like legal compliance. For example, if you're in finance or if you're in legal, we're going to be searching for specific sources which are not like primarily available for the human to actually find what's outdated inside of your content database. And we also can go inside of your knowledge base and actually find outdated claims which shown on your website, but in reality, internally, they're already correct. So that's kind of like tackling of knowledge decay and how fast the stuff gets outdated. And that's why it's like we are very lean on sitting in freshness and relevancy. And GEO for us is just like, we would love to work more with GEO providers. I think it's like GEO is awesome, and I see the huge way of how this market is going to grow, but we want to be a backbone for GEO rather than just be a GEO company itself.
By the way, I do know about Cellcog, and at the same time, he is my friend, and I can tell you that as a deep research agent, it is definitely better. Even I have done experiments with Cellcog. I think I started on 7th of March. My experiments with them, my time to reach to a higher ranking, and then even like average ranking of like 6, 7 on difficult keywords because of it is like very less. And at the same time, I am getting clicks. Impression share is decently high. So they are actually performing very well.
It's like we're all on the frontier of search. And to be honest, no one truly understands what's happening in the search right now. We see that Google is hiring GEO or whatever this role was like a few weeks ago, and we're just seeing how this evolves.
Yeah, with the Google, I believe they are using something called differential search index. And for them to not understand GEO, like still figuring out GEO, they don't support it as such, is because of the fact that their model preference is done by a model. So I think they used LLM as a judge to do their model preference alignment. Whereas you will see with Claude or Grok is very unfiltered. With Claude, you can see this behavior. So it's easier to observe the extremes of it. For example, with Claude, I can observe that it has a little bit kind of sycophant kind of behavior. With the Grok, it is unfiltered. It is very rude. With the ChatGPT, it is somewhere in the middle. And with Google, given their data set, it was too huge. They have not done it much properly. And that's why they don't recognize it. So what happens when you are actually doing this model preference alignment? Some of the internal weights of the last layers or the end layers, they get in some way kind of influenced. Difficult to explain, but because of that, behavior is coming. GEO is about finding that behavior and then using it to actually improve your content strategy?
I mean, we sit here in the Bay Area and we talk all about it. Yeah, and I do feel like, oh my God, there is such a crazy competition. So many GEO players. But at the same time, I think it's a Bay Area effect of a blue bottle in South Park.
No.
You just, like, how many startups are there? Sure, there is a lot of startups in San Francisco, but how many businesses are there in the United States? Insane amounts. So it's just my feeling of what we're discussing is like we're talking about pretty small things which do matter for us, and we think the whole world is about it. But in reality, is like what me and you have to be doing is like spread this diffusion of innovation to like other states, other countries.
I recently wrote a post about that we need at least 700 more GEO companies. And the reason I say it is because I don't think so there is any company on the planet who can serve all the customers right now. That is point number one. Point number two, I do feel that the amount of experimentation that is happening in GEO is far, far less.
I mean, just one example. If someone will write on LinkedIn that if putting some meta tag somewhere on your website will increase your citations, I can guarantee that half of GEO companies going to just follow some LinkedIn post. Like the point of it is just there is very little amount of scientific experimentation I'm seeing so far. And it's just kind of like a lot of marketing people have found Claude and ability to kind of like rely too much on what it's going to output to them. And then they're going to say that it's their findings, which not really scientifically proven, to be honest.
Okay, let me give you a very interesting take here. If I ask a Claude that this is my task, break it into this like 5 parts and give me the time estimate. It will give me like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. And then I will just prompt it the next time and I will say, okay, can you do this or just execute it? It will do it in 2 minutes. Okay. This is one very interesting example. Claude or any other chatbot cannot solve a GEO. And the reason for it is it cannot look at its own log. So it never knows what is happening. And this is like one example.
Well, I do have even more interesting perspective. Because like in regards of Claude SEO is that everyone will do their own SEO. If I can do my Claude SEO, if my competitor can do Claude SEO, and if a third person can do Claude SEO, everyone will have the same of like, do this X, Y, Z. So I think it's all hype about Claude will run your SEO. You don't need SEO strategist. Because that's just like, are you actually going to go in Claude and build up the whole SEO strategy when you deal with your customers? Super unlikely. And that's kind of like a point of like, if I get the same service, you get the same service, the third company got the same service, we're all in the same space, everyone will have the same Claude SEO baseline. You never buy SaaS to get something what everyone has. You only buy for something what's slightly more better. Even if it's like 0.1% better than what Claude SEO will give you, I'm going to pay.
The reason also, if everybody's like, there is something called Nash equilibrium in game theory. So what happens if suppose there is a advantage, like SEO is all about competition. Whether I can find one reward signal, which is better than my client competitor, and that will give the edge to my client. If everybody uses Claude, then we are hitting a Nash equilibrium. That is point number one. And I think in terms of like content strategy, not enough experiments have been done. I have tried, like I do have some channel partners, and I tried first we tried this awareness, consideration, conversion. In conversion, bottom of the funnel, we actually went for negative relevance for smaller clients, and we actually saw increase in AI visibility because bigger companies cannot write negative things. And that is the edge of our smaller companies. And we experimented with it. It worked very well. Then we tried one more strategy, which is called the flywheel strategy. Instead of going for negative relevance, we went for like testimonials and positive review of the brand. And then it was again opening up the awareness path. So it's more like a circle flywheel. And then right now we are trying a third strategy. And interestingly, the third content strategy is performing extremely good. SEO, GEO, both. So I believe a lot of experiments needs to be done in this EAT framework, which the whole SEO community is not even trying, which is very weird because it is supposed to save their jobs.
I mean, Rohit, with all of the respect, I don't think there is a pill. The only one thing which you will do, which will rank you number one. It's fundamentally the whole ecosystem of things from a technical perspective of your website towards the content which you have, towards external validations. It's a flywheel of a lot of things happening. And I think the point is, I do truly admire about you because you split this flywheel into certain things and you actually research pretty deeply with GEO community. And what's good about it, I think it's like what do you do in the GEO community, you fill up the pillar of each flywheel with each person who's from each background. I think that's like will give you a pretty good advantage of different opinions coming.
The whole point of my setting up this GEO community. So this is my take. I believe people will not like it. I don't think so. There is a true GEO consultant on the planet right now. And the reason for it is there is no one who can say with 100% guarantee that this is the framework that I follow. If you copy it, you will get AI visibility, and that is more like a general framework which cannot be punished.
I think it's like what we do at Wrodium is like one of our framing is like, hey, like we selling you an insurance or invisibility. So no matter how the crawler changes, we're gonna make sure that your content will be crawlable inside.
So that is the basic foundation. The reason I say this is because I don't think so. It is solved up to a level where there is a repeatable framework. I'm not talking about the foundation. I'm talking about something else. And that's why I believe that effectively framework needs to come. And that's why that is the whole point of the GEO community. Can I explain the delta between SEO and GEO? That is point number one.
You're kind of doing it right now. Yeah. Which is pretty well. But you get a lot of hits.
But the whole point is if GEO was just SEO and the same tactics work, then there was no problem. Why there is a panic and why your brand is not showing? If the same tactics are working, that means there is a delta. And the whole point of the GEO community was like, find the people who are working in GEO, doing experiment, can share some knowledge, and then we will slowly figure out the delta. So talking about this, do you think delta will be captured by tech companies like you and mine, or by GEO agencies who are going to work close like employees for the SMEs? I think all of us have to do some kind of contribution. And look how many SEO agencies just in the past 2 months became GEO agencies. So, okay. I think that will happen because it's not about they want to become or something. It's about what their client is asking. That is point number one. And they are just responding to the client and trying to become something. But do they understand? I think so, no. They are trying. They will try because it is about survival. It is not about whether they like it, don't like it. It's about their client is asking and they have to act. The bigger SEO tools, I think they will fail. And there is a reason for which I strongly feel is the talent gap. I don't think so they have the right talent to actually pull this off. SEO has existed and have matured in the last 25 years very properly with a lot of hard work. But the problem with them is I don't think so they even understand how AI works, or like I have not seen good experiments. I make fun of like almost every bigger SEO tool regarding this, and the reason is very simple, that calculating number of citations and trying to just count something that this is X, this is Y. This is not research. Okay, this is table stakes. This is not true research. Literally, I can do the same thing without even like lifting a pen. There is nothing in it. I think the bigger question which everyone is asking, like, how's the future is going to look like? Okay, like a pretty interesting question to you will be like, do you believe CMOs will be replaced with AI? Which honestly, I never think so. Okay, my take on it, I do believe that by having more GEO tools and like GEO research done, I only think that marketing roles will be hiring more people than less. That is going to happen, and I will tell you the reason. The technical moat between the companies is dying. Okay, now people can vibe code things at a much faster speed. It's easier to and not just vibe code. It's just the cost of development is little. Like, okay, imagine you're an enterprise. You print $1 million a month in revenue before you spend $500K in your cost of development software. Now you spend $50K. You just all cloud code credits. Like, what are you going to do with a surplus of $450,000, which is just unallocated? Of course, you're going to pour it into like product app. That money is going to enter the marketing space because now the delta between the companies will come by how they brand or position themselves. So by default, GEO space is going to increase at it is already increasing at a rapid speed, but it is going to become much more bigger because if technology or moat is going away, their delta is going to become brand. So I was actually listening to one of the podcasts of Will Reynolds, I think it is his name. And he said something very amazing. He said the price for a brand is basically utility plus position, that there is some minimum value for every product that you are ready to pay based on its utility, but it is the brand which actually pushes you to pay the delta. It's only going to get stronger. Also, I mean, it's just like if there are 100 tools which do the utility, but only top 5 get cited inside of
AI agent which choosing for you. I mean, it's like you're gonna pour all the money you have into being in top. You know what's funny? The shittiest tool might also be cited in number one. One of our clients actually, like, we were on a call with them, and I said, okay, like, no bullshit. Let's go in a private mode, blank ChatGPT, ask the prompt which using like your product can be discovered. We type the prompt. He's like, why the hell those dinosaurs are showing up? Their service sucks. They're old. Like they suck. Like, and objectively is like, if I were to give like, if my client, if someone gave me to manage $100 for my client, I would never give them $100, not just because they're a competitor, but because their product is horrible. And that is kind of like, I think it's like the question is, do you think GEO is actually good or it's actually horrible for LLMs? Because we have a bunch of GEO people producing LLM articles and we feed LLM generated articles back inside of LLMs.
Okay, and taking a wild guess, their objective is to satisfy the user query. So for example, if I have written, there is a question like how to change tires in a car, and I have written something which actually explains it in a much more deeper way, then the LLM do not have to reason it. It can just retrieve and actually give the answer. So that can be like one way.
But at the same time, I had a point, which is like I was driving from Tahoe after skiing, and on my Tesla, the tire got flat, and Tesla has a super wide tires, and I was just stuck in the middle of highway, and I was calling at every tire shop. It's like, hey, do you have this like 275 35 21-inch wheel? And it's like I was like, well, if every company connected themselves into AI agent, they connected their like inventory. It's like I would just prompt ChatGPT and it would actually tell me the direction. At this point, I think GEO is super useful when you can actually smartly connect all of your business inside of this chat.
How I am going to navigate the website. Entities is how I am going to understand the page. Then this web MCP is coming is how I am going to take action on that page. And then UCP is coming, which is basically how I am going to do or complete a transaction. So that is how the agent will navigate the website, understand the website, take action on the website, and do a payment. That is the future which I believe everybody is building.
Follow Wrodium on social media, follow GEO community, apply to it, follow Rohit on LinkedIn, and thank you so much.